Shocking fallout. Kangaroos coach Kevin Walters fired after England's 3-0 shock. In the shadowed corridors of Rugby League's grandest stage, where green and gold dreams collide with the ghosts of legends past, one haunting question echoes through the empty dressing rooms. What if the roar of victory masks the silence of a nation's unraveling faith? It was October 2025, the air crisp with autumn chill across the pond, as the Kangaroos touched down in a land hungry for reckoning. Kevin Walters, the weathered tactician from Brisbane's sun-baked fields, had been handed the reins to Australia's might, a role that carried the weight of his own storied past, from 5 premiership rings to the bitter sting of his Broncos sacking just a year prior. Appointed in July amid whispers of redemption, Walters gathered his charges. Reece Walsh's electric speed, Tom Dearden's steady hand, a squad woven from the NRL's finest threads. The Ashes, dormant since 2003, promised glory under Wembley's arching sky, but beneath the pomp lurked the pressure of a coach on trial, his every call a referendum on his legacy. Please like, share, and subscribe for more sport talk content. The first test unfolded like a thunderclap. Wembley Stadium, alive with 80,000 souls, English flags waving defiant, Aussie chants cutting through like boomerangs, watched as the Kangaroos struck early. A Walsh intercept, a Munster masterclass, and Australia led 24-6 at the break. But complacency crept in, errors mounting like storm clouds, and England clawed back to within a breath. The final whistle brought a narrow 28-20 win, met with polite applause from the away faithful, but Walters' sideline fury betrayed the fragility beneath. Game 2 at Knowsley Safari Park's shadowed arena felt like a siege. Rain-slicked turf turned the contest into mud and muscle, England's pack surging with home soil spite. The Kangaroos, disjointed, coughed up possession in waves. Dearden's passes veered wild. The defense leaked like a sieve. By halftime, England led 16-4, the crowd's jeers a chorus of disbelief. Walters paced the coach's box, radio crackling with urgent pleas, his face etched with the lines of a man staring into an abyss. Then the fracture. As the second half dawned, a botched line dropout gifted England momentum, their winger crossing untouched, 22-4. The Kangaroos' bench fell silent, players' eyes darting to their leader, searching for the spark that had ignited Queensland's origin fires. Walters called a huddle midfield, his voice a gravelly rumble lost to the downpour. "This ain't us, boys. Dig in or we're done." But the words hung heavy, unanswered. The third test at Headingley was meant to be catharsis, a chance to salvage pride under floodlights that had witnessed Bradman's ghosts. Leeds, with its terraced roar, swelled to 70,000, English fans mocking with kangaroo hops, Aussies countering with defiant war cries. Australia scraped a 30-8 victory, Walsh's late brace sealing the improbable sweep, but the celebrations rang hollow, a Pyrrhic triumph stained by the series' sins. In the end, it wasn't the scoreboard that felled Walters, but the autopsy. Back in Sydney's boardrooms, ARL Commission suits pored over footage. 42 handling errors across 3 games, a completion rate dipping below 70%, whispers of favoritism in selections that sidelined rising stars. The 3-0 Whitewash, echoing the invincible 82 tour, should have been his shield. Instead, it cracked under scrutiny. News broke like a thunderbolt on a gray November morning. Walters axed Kangaroos coach sacked despite Ash's glory, screamed the headlines from Fox Sports to The Guardian. Social media ignited, Twitter threads dissecting every misstep, TikToks replaying the Knowsley collapse with mournful soundtracks. Fans flooded NRL forums, maroon jerseys traded for pitchforks. The betrayal felt deeper than any loss. It spread to the heartlands. Brisbane pubs where Walters was once king, now buzzing with barstool debates. Indigenous communities who saw in him a torchbearer for Murray pride mourned quietly. Ceremonies of smoke and song offered in backyards, invoking ancestors who'd fought harder battles on dustier fields. The cultural chasm widened. Rugby League, born in England's northern mills, had long been Australia's dominion, the Kangaroos a symbol of unyielding mateship. But this shock, a sweep turned sour, exposed fractures. The game's evolution towards speed over grit, the tension between club loyalties and national call. Walters, son of a Welsh miner turned Queensland immortal, embodied that heritage. His fall a reminder that even elders must yield to the tide. Outpourings came in waves. Teammates like Cameron Munster posted grainy photos from the tour bus. Kev gave us belief when none existed. This hurts. English outlets, gleeful at first, turned reflective. BBC Sport penning elegies to a coach who'd humanized the Aussies' machine. Fan reactions swung from vitriol to vigil. Petitions for reinstatement gathered 50,000 signatures overnight. Bouquets left at ARLC doors. Yet in the quiet aftermath, as rain lashed Sydney's streets, the true cost emerged. Young players, mentored by Walter's old-school fire, now questioned the path. Hamiso Tabuai Fidal, fresh from a Samoa switch, texting condolences that spoke of divided hearts. The game, ever a mirror to society, reflected a nation grappling with its own shocks. Loyalty tested, traditions bent. This moment whispers of humanity's tender underbelly in sports coliseum. How triumph and tragedy entwine like vines on a goalpost. It reveals the coach not as invincible general, but as steward of dreams, bearing the weight of 26 warriors' hopes on shoulders already bowed by time. In the hush of reflection, we see sportsmanship stripped bare. Walter's refusal to scapegoat, his post-match embraces of English foes, a nod to the game's original sin of brotherhood over borders. It challenges us to value the architect over the edifice, the heart that builds the house before the walls come tumbling. Legacy, in these ashes, defies the ledger. Kevin Walters, architect of Broncos' resurrection and Maroons' defenses, taught that true coaching forges souls, not just scores. His tenure, brief as a comet's arc, illuminated the virtue of vulnerability, admitting flaws in the mirror before the world holds one up. It speaks to resilience's quiet forge, the indigenous thread in Walter's lineage, where stories of displacement birthed unbreaking spirit, now passed to a generation questioning its place in a globalizing game. In his firing, we glimpse the cost of progress, sacrificing the familiar for the fierce unknown. And in that tension lies a deeper truth. Character endures where trophies tarnish. Walters modeled grace under guillotine, his sideline sermons on humility echoing louder than any siren. For every young halfback dreaming of green and gold, this is the lesson etched in loss. The measure of a man is not in the wins retained, but in the dignity surrendered. Weeks later, from a quiet veranda overlooking the Brisbane River, Walters broke his media vow. Sipping black tea, eyes tracing the water's lazy bend, he spoke to a lone journalist. I went there to build something unbreakable. We won the series, but maybe I lost sight of the unbreakable part. The trust, the fire in their bellies. That's on me. He paused, voice softening like evening light on eucalyptus. Coaching the Kangaroos, it was the honor of my life. Those boys, they're not just players. They're carrying our stories, our pains, our joys. If I taught them one thing, I hope it's that falling doesn't define you. Rising with respect does. In a follow-up call, vulnerability cracked through. The call from the commission, it gutted me. But I've been sacked before. Broncos, origin shadows.